Welcome to Freed on Business. He grew up in South Florida, has been in business here since the early 90s, and has closed over $3 billion in deals. He's seen it all. He always has an opinion, and he's always ready to share it. Informed, entertaining, and connected, he has his finger on the pulse of South Florida's business community. He's Jim Freed, and this is Freed on Business.
All right, everybody, welcome to another edition of Freed on Business. This is a tremendous episode that's going to actually set the table for a lot of episodes we're going to be doing, including next week's episode with my good friend Andy Anson. We're going to talk about the generational change, easy enough for you to say, the generational change in the real estate business that's been going on. Before we get started, I want to thank our sponsors for many, many years, 15 plus years, our friends at Warren Henry Automotive. Always the best price, always the best service, always Warren Henry. I want to also thank our friends at the Bergstrom Center for Real Estate Studies. Both have been sponsors basically since the inception of the show. And this is episode number 861, I think, right? 861, yeah. Miami Podcast Studios has given me the yes. So episode 861. Remember, we're streaming live on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram. I don't think we stream on Twitter. But anyway, we're streaming on all the big platforms. And then afterwards, you can make sure to catch us wherever you get your podcast content from. And now on with the show. So we're talking about the generational change in the real estate business. And when I got my start, the real estate business was first evolving. There were no real professional programs. I think the only places that even had degrees in real estate was University of Florida, Texas A&M, Georgia State, and Wisconsin. Maybe USC, but that was about it. You have some of these Johnny-come-latelys like Columbia and NYU. So, you know, University of Miami, all these other places now mint all of these, MSREs, master students, MBAs. I got my MBA with a concentration in real estate. But the real question is the real estate business still a relationship business? Or is it now a technology business? You know, I've used relationships forever. The podcast is a relationship building business, but now I'm starting to get phone calls and emails and things that are obviously generated by AI. A lot of people are sending me their resumes with cover letters that are generated by AI, and AI is seeping into every way that we do business. And so my part about focusing on relationships is strictly enhanced by Gen Z. I have young people that I've mentored for many, many years that have asked me, Jim, can we come and apply AI and new techniques to your book of business? And I said, last year, I said, no, you got to be kidding me. This year, I'm going to say yes. You know, it's very similar to the fact all the financial advisors, they matriculate up the chain, and as they get more mature in the business, the younger people come behind them, and they basically buy the book and they pay for the book with their with the income that they make. So the business is changing dramatically. Who built the current business? Baby boomers, early Gen X people. It's really a brokerage-centric model. You've got a couple of legacy firms that are out there, CBRE, Cushman, JLL, to name a few. You've got other firms that are more niche specialists out there, but majority of it is broker centric. It based its business on imprint advertising, in-person networking, and geographically farming. I can remember going out and trying to buy a whole bunch of shopping centers before there was the internet. There was only one county in Florida that had digitized records, and that was let's see which one. Pinellas County, as they call it, Pinellas County. Now, everything, point and shoot, you get all your answers. I drove up and down every arterial roadway in Florida, then in the Southeast, and learned all the people that owned them. I would take a picture of the property, a picture of the sign, which showed all the tenants, the picture of the address, then I would go look it up on Meets and Bounds. It took forever. You know, you had to have deep community ties. You had to have strong negotiating skills, and everything was referral based. Today, it's a complete shift. You're going from the analog model I just told you about to the digital model, which our friends at places like DeepLux use, where they go out, they scrape all the data on the public records, they slam it together, and they can give you your answer really quickly. It transitioned from sending letters and making phone calls to the emails that I use to send with the podcast, the early contact management systems like Salesforce, and creating online listings. Then you had Realtor.com, and Zillow came along with the with the industry continuing to shift. Online lead generation began to build. Team structures grow. Now each realtor has a team. Each real estate company has a team. Our good friend of the show, Brian Gale, has one of the best teams I've ever seen that he's put together. And there's increasing market sophistication with all this data. There's data processing to give you good answers. And now it's gone from independent agents to this team-based production. And now you've got even more things that are coming to mind. You've got the short-form content marketing. You've got, authenticity over polished and good-looking. You've got community-driven ideas. You've got AI-powered lead systems. You have analysis that'll predict everything. You have transaction automation, the digitization of the information, and people are becoming real advisors rather than what I used to call process managers. And the real question is AI going to level the playing field or widen the gap? And the reality is that it's going to do both. It's going from the relationship first gated industry information with a heavy reliance on the debt relationships and the local banks. There were deep capital markets relationships, market cycle experience, institutional discipline. Today, it's becoming globalized. People are buying from all over the world. The REITs are growing, and there's an incredible expansion in the capital market space. I used to be able to outwork the other group by knowing more. Now everybody knows the same thing. And what does this do? That levels the playing field. And it's gone from the broker as the rainmaker to the firm as a platform for making the rain. It's increased the influence of MBAs and financial engineering. And now the next generation is coming in. They're more comfortable with analytics, modeling, and technology platforms. CoStar is a big format. Co-working is expanded, so you don't really need a physical office. There's flexible office content concepts. The focus on some of the other things like impact investing and ESG are skewing everything. And now there's new asset classes that you never would have thought of just a few years ago. Industrials become logistics. Industrials become data center. Industrials become life science. And I can show you instances of each one of these transactions. And there's also been a shift in values to now a work-life balance, purpose-driven investing like ESG. And there's more transparency in the ways people are compensated and how these firms are structured. In the post-pandemic era, there have been more hybrid and remote work settings. I work out of my home. I have some of the people I work with, including my marketing team, they're based in Chicago. I've never really met them in person. And you've got to be much more of an entrepreneur. I've had friends that have been working in large institutions. They get aged out as the younger generation pushes them out of the business, and they go, Jim, what do I do? How do I do it? I've got to be more of an entrepreneur. I've got news for you. Not everybody can go up and say hello. It's the biggest skill that you need right now is the ability to say hello. One of my friends at one of the big investment banks says he stopped recruiting at all the Ivies because all the Ivies are the same. They can all do great quantitative gymnastics, but none of them want to get their face out of their text messages and just say hello to somebody. There's all kinds of uncertainty what your office should be and where you should be. There's been all kinds of interest rate volatility, and the capital markets are tightening because nobody's been able to sell their deals. Now the most important person is the equity provider. A lot of these big institutions haven't been able to sell or refinance and recycle their equity, so new capital sources are necessary. I'm working with two. I'm competing with one of these big legacy real estate companies to provide capital to one of my clients, and they went out and did what I call water the lawn, which means they went out, bought a list, sent everything to the list. They got nowhere. I made 2 phone calls and got 2 groups interested, both of whom are at least going to make quotes, God willing. And this is what I do. The big legacy companies water the lawn, and then because of my personal relationship or my personal knowledge, I'm able to beat them with better terms and better setup because I have a personal relationship and I know who's in the market. Transaction compensation, broker compensation, individual compensation is changing. You've gone from a draw to now salary and salary plus equity. Changes include remote work and traditional office culture. There's a lot of difference in risk tolerance, and the succession plans are also an issue. When I first got started in the business, one of my mentors told me, always get to know the young people in the business, help mentor them, help them get jobs, because someday you're going to want them to pick up the phone and answer your calls. And that day is today. Every single person that I'm working with in the industry is under 55 years old, and the majority of them are under 45. And some of my most important clients and contacts are between 32 and 42. Why? They know the technology, they have the access to the capital, they're bringing their friends to the table. And I don't know these people, but my specialty is I know the people that know the people, and they pick up the call, they pick up the phone when I call. So what's the future look like? Your capital relationship are going to remain needed. You're going to need to negotiate. You're going to need to have local market expertise, and it's still going to be long cycle thinking. What's changing permanently? The office demand assumptions, the speed that the information is made into the market. I already said it, data democratization. You can find anything out online that you want. And greater institutional oversight. As more layers come on and more people look, there's more things, more I's that need to be dotted and T's that need to be crossed. The trends, infrastructure, and logistics are beginning to dominate. Right here in South Florida, you can see the price change and the liquidity change on the climate risk, places where climate risk is not as impactful. People are buying what they call on the ridge here, where the properties are higher. You're seeing less people want to buy on the water, and when they do, you're seeing that they're going to have increased ownership costs. And private capital is becoming more influential than banks. The banks are under more regulatory scrutiny, while the private capital is really only under internal scrutiny. So we're going to come back with the bottom line right after this short message. And this is where I ask Miami Podcast Studios to shine. So today we're talking about the generational shift in real estate, and people who've been able to stay in front of the generational shift of the auto industry are my friends at Warren Henry. And this one, I got to give a high five to Larry Zinn and Eric Day for taking the reins over there and working with Warren Zinn to bring Warren Henry into the next century, the next generation of automotive service and sales. They are tremendous. They help you maintain your quality interaction with them throughout the sales process. You know that they know everything. They call you up. I get this little icon on my phone, on my car. It always tells me you need this, you need that. It's all because it's being monitored somewhere. They call me whenever they know it's time to get me out of my car, and they always make the call all about me. It's really tremendous. I can't thank my friends at Warren Henry Automotive enough. So if you're looking to buy your new car or lease your new car, you want to get the best deal you can, call our friends at Warren Henry. They've got a great store up in, that's right, Gainesville, where they sell Audis. They've got a great store down in the Keys where they sell all their fantastic name brands. Of course, they've got their headquarters store here at 151st and Biscayne, where you can go in and see the latest technology on wheels. And yes, they have their award-winning Land Rover and Range Rover store in South Dade and in West Broward. And at that headquarters store, they've got Land Rover, Range Rover, Jaguar, and Lincoln, all great cars. And they all come with the Warren Henry Advantage. You get treated like family. You get great service. They give you a service loaner, all kinds of stuff. Go to the website you see right there and check everything out. And join me, my beautiful wife, Vivian, my mom, my rest of my family, lots of my clients and friends. We're all members of the Warren Henry family. You should be too. Always the best price, always the best service, always Warren Henry.
Welcome back to Freed on Business. Connect with us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at Jim Freed or at Freed on Business, and on Instagram at Jim Freed1. Now, back to your host, Jim Freed.
All right, everybody, look at my contact information. Reach out to me because I know all the next-gen leaders. I know all the legacy people, and when I call, they pick up the phone. Isn't that what makes the difference? You've heard me talk about it throughout the entire show. It's a merger of technology and relationships, and I work with both. So reach out to me, and remember, whenever you call me, it's always all about you. And now, the bottom line. So what are the actionable takeaways from the things that we've described and the circumstances above? Well, for senior leadership, you got to embrace technology partnerships. I was just talking about this with Miami Podcast Studios before we got on the air. I think that in the future, people are worried about the jobs that they're going to have, the young people. I think that you'll have different companies using different AI agents and AI master agents, and the young people or the next generation of people that can master that integration of technology will be the people that will be on the team, and different firms will need different verticals for that technology. So each person will have to find themselves and match themselves, probably by using technology. Building mentorship pipelines. Again, for senior leadership, I must have mentored 100 people. I just got back, 150 people. I just got back from the University of Florida Center for Real Estate Studies Trends Conference in Orlando. One of the people that I mentored 10 years ago came up to me. They just did about $500 million worth. I'm not kidding. $500 million worth of loans in South Florida alone. I got to call him young man. He's 35 years old. But 10 years ago, I mentored him when he was in school. He mentioned to me instances that I did not remember, but they impacted him. And when I need something, I can call that gentleman and he will pick up the phone. And then you need to formalize succession planning. The majority of the real estate firms that I work with, the legacy senior principal, the patriarch, already has, well, I guess I'm that old, already has their young people, their next gen in the firm, building them out of the firm. They send them out to other firms and bring them back with those skills. Now, this is the issue that really I think is important, because these are people that may be weak on everything. Mid-career professionals, they need to strengthen the way that they know about the capital stack. What they bring to the table is the capital stack. I was talking to one of these legacy companies the other day. They said, hey, Jim, you can't be a mortgage broker, capital broker, real estate broker anymore, because everybody that does that is between 35 and 45 years old. And you don't know any of those people. I got news for them. I'm very tight. I've been mentoring that genre person for 25, 30 years. And you also need to develop what they call cross-asset fluency. I got news for you. I could talk any product type, pretty much any marketplace right now. So I guess I'm a human technology, a human AI, I like to call it. I got NI, natural intelligence. For young professionals, master financial modeling. Go to the University of Florida Center for Real Estate Studies to do that, where we get the best training. Learn the capital markets. It's not just leasing now, it's capital markets. And seek equity participation early. Get a piece of the deal, not just a payout for a commission. That's the secret to building wealth in this industry. So bottom line, commercial real estate is no longer just about buildings. No longer location. It's about capital, data, adaptability across generation. And remember, the next leaders won't just inherit portfolios. They're redesigning the business model themselves. Talk to them, understand them, work with them, let them leverage you and you leverage them. And together, the blend will create the successful next gen real estate company. And remember, the person who wants to do something finds a way, the other finds an excuse. So go out there and make it happen. I just gave you the roadmap. Miami Podcast Studios, the rest of the show is yours.